When it comes to classic television and cinema, The Fugitive stands as a monument to thrilling storytelling and edge-of-your-seat suspense. This iconic series, which first captivated audiences in the 1960s, and its subsequent movie adaptation in the 90s, have both etched an indelible mark on the hearts of thrill-seekers and mystery lovers alike. Join us as we peel back the layers of this beloved franchise, revealing the hidden mechanics and inspired creativity that fueled its legendary status. Facts First presents, Harrison Ford kept this secret while filming The Fugitive. The backstory behind the script. The screenplay for The Fugitive went through extensive rewrites, and over 25 drafts were written by 9 different writers over a 5-year period. One especially crazy early draft even had Tommy Lee Jones's character, Samuel Gerard, secretly hiring a hitman to kill Kimball's wife in an act of revenge. Obviously, that didn't make the cut. The final shooting script was still treated very loosely on set. Director Andrew Davis has been quoted as saying the screenplay was more of a loose guideline than anything strict. The actors often improvised dialogue, including the iconic "I don't care" line from Tommy Lee Jones. Jane Lynch, who had a small role as a doctor, said she and Harrison Ford rewrote some of their dialogue together the day of filming because he wasn't satisfied with what was originally written. Surprise stars almost played iconic roles. It might be impossible to imagine anyone other than Harrison Ford playing Richard Kimball, but he wasn't the first choice for the role. Nick Nolte, Kevin Costner, Michael Douglas, and Alec Baldwin were all considered first. Baldwin was actually very close to being cast and apparently lost the role because the studio didn't think he could carry a big-budget thriller at the box office at that time. Of course, Harrison Ford brought his trademark intensity and charisma to the character, so it's hard to imagine any other actor doing it justice. Tommy Lee Jones landing the role of Sam Gerard seems perfectly natural now, but Gene Hackman and Jon Voight were also considered initially. But Davis ended up choosing Tommy Lee Jones, who helped shape the character through improvisation on set. Pulling off extreme practical stunts and effects. Rather than relying heavily on special effects, The Fugitive used real stunts and action sequences to heighten the surprise. For the train crash scene, it would have been easy to fake with models or crude computer effects, since technology at the time was still developing. But Davis knew the only way to really wow audiences was to capture a real crash with no trickery involved. They used an actual decommissioned train and prison transport bus and crashed them together at full speed. The impact happened at around 40 miles per hour rather than the planned 35, which made for an even more violent and stunning wreck. Shooting the sequence with 27 cameras, it was still mostly done in just one take. In the last act of the film, Ford performed many of his own stunts while Kimball tries escaping capture from Gerard through a hydroelectric dam's tunnels. Ford himself even completed the stunt of peering over the immense dam wall, contemplating jumping. Dummies were swapped in for the final dangerous jump, but 6 special effects replicant dummies that perfectly matched Ford's look and build had to be created just for that short scene. That cost about $10,000 to $12,000 per dummy. Not to mention the entire dam tunnel set piece cost over $2 million overall for less than 10 minutes of screen time. Another prime example was filming the intense chase at the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Rather than mock up a fake parade, Davis got permission to shoot their staged cat and mouse amidst the actual Chicago parade in progress. No scripts or blocking could dictate the spontaneity needed. Ford and Jones just improvised their moves through the crowded streets, with camera crew struggling to keep up. Harrison Ford pushed through intense pain. Ford is known for his commitment to physically demanding roles, but while filming The Fugitive, he ended up inadvertently causing himself a serious injury. During the scenes of Kimball struggling through the woods, Ford damaged some ligaments in his knee. This resulted in significant chronic pain and limping. Rather than halt production for surgery and recovery, Ford waited until after filming completed for treatment. He wore a brace and endured the pain to ensure the continuity of Kimball's new injury matched his own. He allowed his real limp to add more desperation and realism to Kimball's plight on the run. Years later, it was revealed Ford had actually been hiding another, more serious injury throughout the shoot. In the beginning of production, he ruptured a disc in his spine during one of the chase sequences early on. But again, the intense shooting schedule left no room for delay or surgery. So Ford kept this very serious and agonizing back injury completely secret from the director, crew, and co-stars. He was even doing many of his own stunts through excruciating pain, adding even more grit and gravity subconsciously to his performance. Ford needed immediate surgery to correct it once shooting had stopped. Critical and commercial mega hit. At the time, big-budget Hollywood action thrillers were not the sort of films that garnered much prestige. These movies were successful at the box office but rarely won over critics. But The Fugitive broke that mold and became both a critical darling and one of the highest-grossing films of 1993. It lasted at number 1 in the box office for 6 straight weeks when released, which almost never happened in the age before social media marketing. Positive word of mouth just kept fueling ticket sales. It made over $180 million domestically and $368 million total worldwide. It achieved the rare distinction of being nominated for the Best Picture Academy Award as an action thriller. Yes, it had the riveting plot, kinetic action sequences, and iconic Tommy Lee Jones performance, but it also caught critics and Oscar voters' eyes for its tight editing, score, and cinematography. This all culminated in Jones finally winning the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor that had eluded him in the past. Influence extending to both sequels and remakes. The Fugitive was always designed to work as a satisfying standalone chase story, adapting elements from the original 1960s TV premise. But the film ended up developing into a burgeoning franchise of its own. Tommy Lee Jones returned 5 years later to headline the spin-off movie U.S. Marshals in 1998. Wesley Snipes took over as the escaping fugitive, with Jones continuing his pursuit. Unfortunately, the premise wasn't quite as compelling without Harrison Ford involved, so the movie only achieved mediocre financial success and poor critical reviews. Clearly, the concept still held appeal, though, because CBS decided to give the franchise another try by rebooting the original show in 2000. Actor Tim Daly was cast as Dr. Kimball, but high production expenses reportedly contributed to it getting canceled after just one short season of 22 episodes, leaving the main plot unresolved. Additionally, the original film was such a smash that even foreign countries remade their own versions. Bollywood was first in line to adapt it only 2 years later. They released the film Nir Naram in 1995, which transports the storyline to India with slight tweaks, but the core premise remains identical. A doctor wrongly accused for his wife's murder goes on the lam to track down the true culprits behind the conspiracy framing him. The Fugitive clearly tapped into the classic hero's journey structure, amplified by modern filmmaking techniques. Now it's time to hear from you. What's your favorite scene from the movie The Fugitive? Let us know in the comments section below.